What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Lionel Messi poster that I made a couple of days ago for my top 10 highest paid athletes in 2021. So I thought this would be a good video to make at the moment, because obviously there's all the news going on about Messi, you know, leaving and moving on to PSG. So basically I thought, you know, why not? I'll bring the poster out to you guys. You guys seem to love it, so hopefully you did, and hopefully you've been looking forward to this video, and a few of you asked me for it, so thank you for that. Appreciate all the comments I get on the posts on Instagram and on the YouTube, so hopefully we can get some learning done today. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, and yeah, let's get straight into the video. So guys, first things first, you're going to need to download the texture pack. This is pretty standard now. You know this is what we do, so hopefully you know you're familiar with it. Just download the link, and once you open it up, you'll be presented with this screen. So on the screen you'll have, you know, thank you for the download, and then you can just turn that off, and then all the sort of assets we're going to need are down here. So what we're going to do, once we've got our texture pack downloaded, we're going to we're going to create a new document, and this is just going to be in A4. So create our new A4 document. We got all this done, and now we can start sort of working on the design and sort of developing, you know, what it's going to look like. So first things first, I'm going to just get some shape. So what I'm going to need to do is go back to my texture pack, and I'm going to turn on Messi images. I'm going to get my eyedropper tool and take some colors from his t-shirt. So we've got the pink and red, pink and blue, sorry. So we've got those two now. Now we can go back to our document. So what you're going to want to do is get your rectangle tool, and then we're going to start making sort of a doubled up layer style, so we can duplicate these squares and make sort of a shape inception, I guess you could say. So if I do that now, so get your rectangle tool, select your red or pink, whatever you want to call it, and drag it out so it covers the whole screen, like so. So now we've got that, we've got it covering the whole screen. And now what we need to do is just duplicate this, and then go Command T, so once we've duplicated it, and pull it in a bit. Then we're going to change this to blue. And what we're going to do is go Command J and Command T again, and what we're going to do is bring it in again, change this one to pink, and then one more time we're going to bring it in to this nice little blue square. So guys, got a nice little, you know, shape thing going on here, so this works really well. What you can do now is literally just group these or convert them to a smart object. So you've got your background, and then we change that to BG, and you don't need to do anything else with that. That's all done. All the background's done. So what we're going to do now is go to our texture pack, because I've got some images in there for you to use. So we're going to go down to the bottom, and it's going to go Lionel scaled. So what we need to do now, drag and drop this in. And as you can see, it's already got this triangular effect on it, and it's quite big, so you're going to have to fit it in perfectly. So about there. As you can see, these images have been, you know, adapted so they fit these different areas. So obviously if it's not working for you, you can go into the smart object and edit the images yourself. For now, we're just going to leave it like this so I don't keep you watching too long. So what we're going to do first, we're going to get our line tool. So let's go down here, get a line tool, and we're going to go for a white stroke, sorry. And we're just going to go down from the corner, pull it all the way through the design, like so. Right, so we've got our line. What we want to do is make sure the stroke is full, like not dashed. Bring this up to 5. So we've got a strong line, and then we're going to go off that. So now we're going to make one more. We're going to go up to the other corner now, and we're going to go all the way down along the picture image. Got another one there, and then we're going to just do one through the middle. Got that now. Got our one through the middle. Now we've got our little sectioned off sort of area, and now this sort of makes sense for the images. What we're going to do now is give them a layer style so that the lines sort of blend into the design. So what you're going to do, you're going to get your lines, going to group them together, call them lines, and then what we need to do is just change this to something like overlay. So as you can see, it sort of highlights different areas within the triangular sort of shape, and works really nicely. Now that we've got that, we're going to go back to our texture pack. So we're going to add some texture in now. This is going to have a sort of a really nice effect on the design, so let's bring them in, and I'll sort of talk you through these textures, because there's quite a few of them, just sort of to build up sort of the style of the design I've got here. So position them in the middle, and then we can turn them on, and now as you can see, sort of adds a layer of depth to the design. So what we've got first, we've got a halftone pattern here, so this is just going to be some small dots on the background. Nothing major, but something that'll add a nice little bit of depth to the image. We've got our outside texture, which if you zoom in to the edges of your design, and I'll turn it on and off again, you'll be able to see it adds a nice little bit of texture on the edges, so it just sort of gives you that extra style. Then we've got some sort of snow or dust or whatever you want to call it, sort of, yeah, probably dust, coming through the design, so just going to be sort of flying around the screen. You can layer mask it out so you can decide where you want it to go. So that's all good, and that's on color dodge just to change the color of it. And then we got one more dust texture, so this is just mainly like scratches and just main dust to go on the whole of the design. So that's that done. Not too much to do with the texture, but it gives you that extra element of, you know, this is like going to be on fire eventually, because if you've seen the finished, you know, image, which I think most of you will have, because I showed it at the start of the video, the end up product is sort of the image is on fire. So hopefully you'll understand why these textures are used. So we've got those. Now I'm going to go in, I'm going to get my images. So we can get the Messi images, or we can get the color stripes first. I'm going to recommend we get the color stripes first, because they're going to have the fire in it as well. So what you need to do is, once you drag and drop these in, you can position them wherever you think they should be. I'm going to go for about there, because that sort of gives you the best effect. So that looks really nice. So inside here, we've got our 3 fire images. So these little flames, I guess you could call them. And then we've got one sort of rainbow color on the background as well. So once you use the camera or filter, this looks really nice. It sort of brings out the color a bit more and sort of gives you that depth of field again. So we've got those dropped in. So you can play around with those. You can use as many as you want. You can duplicate it, you know, play around with it, complete your choice. And now we're going to go get the Messi images. Now this is where we need to do a little bit of work. Drag and drop these in. I'm going to position them in the middle of the design. So about here, looks good, I would say. So we'll confirm that. And now inside this Messi images, we've got the front image and the main image. So the main image is the big one. So we're going to just move this guy here. Make sure he's right on the edge of this blue shape. And then we're going to get this front image, which is this one. I'm going to give him some shadows. So what we need to do is open him up. And then we're going to put a new layer below him. Get our brush tool. And you know the drill. We need to just make a thin brush with this sort of sort of shape here. Reduce the size of it. Get a black color. Then what we're going to do is zoom in, and now we're just going to go through and add a nice little, you know, foot texture for him. Okay, again, you can add it for the ball, completely personal preference. And then what I'm going to do is reduce the opacity just so it adds a nice little effect, so it's not too dark, not too unrealistic. And again, you can add, if you reduce the opacity of your brush, you can add a nice little dark shadowed area just so you can sort of insinuate where his body would be. So if I zoom out now, you can see there's a nice little dark area behind, so it gives again the depth of field, but also it shows you where he's going to be standing on the design, so it makes a bit more sense. So guys, we got that done. What I have done on these images, just to make them look more realistic with the fire, is I've given them some highlights. So what you need to do with this, I've already got them in here, so you don't need to play around with that, but if you want to learn, what I've done is I've got a new hue and saturation layer, and I've added it on top. I've clicked colorize, increase the lightness and saturation, and then just pick the color I wanted it to be. Then I inverted the mask, so like this, so that's what I would have looked. So if you invert it to black and white, then what we do is go get a brush, so a soft brush, and reduce the opacity down to like 10%. And if I zoom in now, you'll see you can sort of start painting. If we had a white color, you can start painting highlighted areas, yeah, to his design. As you can see, it's making it more orange. So if I just get rid of that now, there we go. So you just go around the edges here and just sort of highlight it a little bit more. Again, it just, once you use that camera filter, it gives that extra added effect of him being on fire type of thing. And then he's got the fire in his eyes, so he's sort of looking at sort of what's going on. So this is a pretty simple process, but it just gives you that extra bit of I don't know what the word is, but it gives you that extra bit of detail to the design. Just makes it look a bit more realistic. Obviously it's not going to be realistic, but if you can get it sort of not close, but sort of add elements that are going to make it look more real, then I definitely recommend it. So highlights are a major plus to this side of the design. You should definitely use them. But hopefully from me doing this here, you've seen how I've done it, and you've sort of got an idea on, you know, the ways of doing it. So make sure you have your brush at 10% and then just go to town on the hue saturation mask. So got that. We got that done for both images, so we don't need to do too much there. We've added the foot shadow, the image is in. Next thing I'm going to do is go back to my texture pack and get the fire layer. So this fire layer is going to add fire at the bottom of the design, as you'll see now. So a nice little bit of fire at the bottom. Again, we can move this down, just adds another element of, you know, depth of field again. So we can even convert this to a smart object now. So we've got the fire here, and then we're going to change this to screen, I think it was on. There we go. And what you can do is add a tiny little bit of blur. So if we go to Gaussian blur, we don't want that much. So something like 5 would look good. And then it just sort of blurs it out a little bit. Doesn't do too much, but it gives it enough so you know what's going on. And it sort of looks like Messi from the way he's running in the design. It looks like he's trying to dodge through the fire, so that works nicely. Next thing, and the last thing we are going to add, guys, is the frame. So this is a Kodak frame. So if you take old photos on an old camera, you'll see this. You'll get a nice little sort of template area where the photo sits in between, and it just says Kodak, and you know it's Kodak photo paper, whatever, off film images and stuff like that. But it's just a nice little element I thought I could add just to make this include a little bit of vintage effect. But not only that, it gives you that extra element of, you know, depth of field, and makes the design look a little bit more interesting, I think. So that's always a bonus. So whatever you can do to make it look a bit more interesting or a little bit different from what other people are doing, do that. So what we've got now, we've got the layout, we've got the frame and everything in. What we need to do now is add the camera or filter. Don't have to go too serious on this, but I think adding a decent amount of attention to the camera or filter is going to make it look better. So if I just make a screenshot now, so Command Shift Option E, so we've got that, and then we're going to go filter, camera or filter. So what I did with this, I increased the yellows a little bit just because obviously it's on fire, so you wanted that extra bit of yellow. Exposure I boosted, contrast I made a lot darker, highlights -30, darks, shadows +30, whites -30, and then darks +30. So that's pretty standard with the highlights and the darks and blacks and stuff like that. You -30 for the highlights, +30 for the blacks, just to reduce that a little bit. Then we brought the texture out a lot, so bring the texture out to about 60. Clarity you can boost up to about 30. So then, as you can see now that we've done that, if I do a before and after, you can see that the images in the background are coming through more, and you can see them a lot better. So it sort of adds that extra bit of, you know, quality to the design. So if we go dehaze as well, 10%, 10 to 15% is good. Then we're going to go for a vibrance to about 17, saturation 17. Vibrance you can reduce to about 10 actually, just because you don't want to overpower the image and make it too bright. Same with saturation, just keep it, you know, a decent. Curves, again, we can add some nice little shadows here. If we do a nice little S curve like that, that's nice. Sharpening is always a good one to bring out the final bits of texture, so I put that up to 100 usually. Little bit of noise reduction you can add, and then a little bit of color noise as well. So that looks nice. Color grading, now this is another one, guys. You're going to want to add more orange in my opinion, because obviously the design is on fire, so you're going to want to create that nice effect. So if we go to the oranges, we just sort of boost it towards that side a little bit more. Blues we can bring out as well, obviously, because there's blue in the background. So that looks nice. Saturation as well, boost the oranges, boost the reds a little bit, nice. And then boost the blues as well. And the pink a little bit if you want, because, you know, the background is a little bit pink. Don't have to do too much though. So that's that done. Color grading, again, sort of similar idea. Just get some sort of orange and blues and play around with it. And then we get to our effects. So we add probably about 30 grain, and then about a 15 or -10 vignette, just so you can get the corners in the design. So now, as you can see, we've created a really nice style here. So yes, the image, his skin tone's a little bit too textured on this one, but you can play around with that in the camera raw. So you don't want it too I don't know what the word is, but too oversaturated is the word. You don't want it too colored. You want it more like a realistic skin tone, so don't overdo on that one, because I have a little bit, but it's all in effect at the end of the day. So whatever your desired effect is, go for that one. So that's nice. We got that done. Now we can boost saturation here a little bit and here, and then we can click OK. So before and after, you can see it looks completely different, guys. Looks a lot different. So we're just going to go OK with that, and then we're just going to sort of have a look, see what we've done. So we've added a nice little design to the background, and these flames going across look really cool. The shadows, again, they're really nice. They add the nice little bit of depth of field, and the fire at the front also adds that depth of field. So we've covered a lot of things in this video, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and hopefully you've learned a few things along the way. And also, hopefully you're enjoying the new camera, because I think it looks a lot better. I watched the last video as well that I did while I was editing it. It looks so much better, and I hope you're enjoying the new quality. If you are, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you would want to see in the next video as well. So having said all of that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.